You shake their hand. They look you right in the eye and say it. Their name, clear, easy, no mumble, no noise to blame it on. You smile. You nod. You say something back. And it's already gone. Not fading. Gone. Wiped clean before your hand has even let go of theirs. And now there's just a shape where the word used to be. So you start doing the thing. You build the next 10 minutes around one word. You. So what do? How do you know the host? Every sentence built to dodge the name you don't have. You're not in the conversation anymore. You're managing it. Dodging. Steering. Praying nobody else wanders over. Because if somebody walks up right now, waiting, expecting you to introduce them, that's the nightmare. That little beat of silence where everyone realizes you have no idea who you've been talking to. And later, replaying it, there's this quiet voice. What is wrong with me? They told me. They said it right to my face. Other people just hold on to names. Why can't I? Here's what I need you to hear. That moment is not proof your memory is broken. And it is not proof that you're some cold, self-absorbed person who doesn't care about people. The reason it stings so much is that you've quietly decided it says something about you. About your brain. About your heart. It doesn't. By the end of this, you're going to understand exactly why this happens. And you're going to walk away with 5 things you can do. So names actually stick. Not tricks. Not memory champion gymnastics. 5 small moves that work because they fix the real problem. Let's go. So let's get the diagnosis right because almost everybody gets it wrong. When you forget a name, it feels like a memory failure, like your filing system simply lost it. So you try to fix it at the wrong end. You strain to recall. You beat yourself up for having a bad memory. But that's not what happened. Most of the time, the name was never stored at all. Think about where your attention actually was in that handshake. Be honest. Were you really listening? Or running your own name through your head one more time? Managing that little flicker of nerves? Planning your next sentence? Wondering how you were coming across? The name was spoken. It landed in the air right in front of you, but you weren't there to catch it. You were in your own head, not theirs. Here's the picture that makes it click. You tried to take a photo with the lens cap still on. You pressed the button. You heard the little click. As far as you were concerned, you took the picture. But nothing got through. The moment happened, you were right there, and not one bit of it was captured. You didn't lose the name. There was never a name to lose. It was never recorded. But sit with what it means, because it's the most freeing thing you'll hear today. If the problem were a broken memory, you'd be stuck. You can't just install more storage. But the problem isn't your memory. The problem is where your attention was, and attention you can move. So here's the one rule everything else hangs on. Write it on the inside of your skull. You cannot recall what you never recorded. Almost every name you've ever forgotten wasn't forgotten. It was lost the instant you heard it. Not 5 minutes later. Not at recall, at input. Which means all that effort people pour into trying to remember harder is pulling on a string that isn't attached to anything. The whole game is won or lost in the first 3 seconds. Right there, the moment the name is said. So the goal isn't how do I force my memory to be better. The real goal is simpler and far more in your control. How do I actually be there when the name is said? Everything from here is just 5 ways to be there. So the first one, and this is the foundation. Get this and the rest is easy. The instant they start to speak, drop your own script. Whatever you were rehearsing, your name, your opener, your nerves. Let it go for 1 second. Just hear the name. The name only records if you're actually present when it lands. So, before you launch into anything, you land. You give that one word your full quiet attention. Most of your name problems disappear right here. Then, the second you hear it, say it. Out loud. Right back to them. Maya. Nice to meet you, Maya. It feels almost too simple, but here's why it works. Saying the name forces your brain to handle it, to process the actual sound, instead of letting it slide past like background noise. You're not just hearing the name anymore. You're using it. And a name you've used is 10 times stickier than a name you only heard. Now, don't let it sit there and fade. Work it in. Use it a couple of times in those first 2 minutes while it's still warm. That's a good point, Daniel. So, where'd you grow up, Daniel? And then once more on the way out. Really great talking to you, Daniel. What you're doing is spacing it out while the name is still fresh. And that's what lifts it from a fading echo into something planted. 3 uses, and the name stops being a guess and becomes something you know. For the names that still won't stick, give them something to hold on to. A sound is slippery. It just slides through. But a picture has handles. So turn the name into one vivid image, or pin it to someone you already know with that name. Rose. I literally pictured a single red rose pinned to her jacket. Mark. I saw a big check mark floating over his shoulder. It feels silly. It works anyway. You're giving an abstract little puff of sound, a body. And things with bodies are far easier to find again. And the last one is for when it's already gone, because it'll happen. You'll blank, even with all of this. So, here's how you handle it, and it might be the most important move of all. You don't fake it. You don't spend the next 10 minutes spiraling and dodging. You just say it. Calm, honest, light. I want to get this right. Remind me of your name. Or, I'm completely blanking and I hate it. Say it once more for me. Owning it doesn't cost you anything. People don't think less of you. They think more of you. Because you cared enough to ask instead of bluffing your way through. Honesty here actually builds trust. But I want to pull back now because there's something underneath all 5 of these that matters more than any single move. Go back to that 3 seconds and ask the real question. In that moment, where was your attention? On them or on you? The names slip most when we're performing. When we're so busy in our own heads. How am I doing? How do I look? What do I say next? That there's no room left to actually notice the human being in front of us. The names don't slip because you're forgetful. They slip because in that moment, you weren't really with the person. You were with yourself. And here's what nobody tells you about the people who seem effortlessly good with names. They didn't win some genetic memory lottery. They just quietly made one shift. From how am I coming across to who is this actually in front of me? That's it. They got curious, and curiosity records names almost by accident. Because when you're genuinely interested in someone, you're already paying the kind of attention that makes the name stick on its own. That's the engine. The 5 moves work, but only because every one of them drags you out of your own head and plants you in front of the other person. They're training wheels for presence. The real skill was never memory. It was caring enough to be there. Remembering names was never a gift you got cheated out of at birth. It's a direction you point your attention. And that is a choice. You make it or you don't. Every single time someone tells you who they are, picture the old version of you, apologizing, dodging, building every sentence around you and hey, carrying that quiet little shame around like it's a fact about your character. Now picture the new one, present, curious, catching the name the second it lands, saying it back, using it, holding it. The person who looks someone in the eye and actually sees them and makes them feel, maybe for the first time that day, genuinely remembered. That's not a memory expert. That's just someone who decided to be there. And you can be that person starting with the very next name you hear. Now, if you want to go further, the next video is about how to remember everything else someone tells you. Not just their name, the story, the detail, the thing they mentioned once that you bring up 3 weeks later and watch their whole face light up. That's the real superpower. So, subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss it, and do one thing for me in the comments. Tell me what trips you up the most. Is it hearing the name in the first place, holding on to it, or recovering when it's already gone? Drop it below. I read them. And I'll see you in the next one.